Hi RIMBA, welcome back. In today's session, we'll make different types of reptiles out of clay and plasticine. I will show you simple ways on how you can make crocodiles, turtles and snakes. What you will need for this session is molding clay or plasticine, a plastic knife or ruler, and your fingers. It doesn't matter how much clay you have and it doesn't matter what color you use as long as you have some and you can work with it. Remember, you can always play this video back many times to follow through the steps and practice. Practice as many times as you can so you can get the shapes and the forms as perfect as you can make them. But remember, make sure you work on a protected surface like this. So this is a normal plastic file so that I'm not dirtying the table and it doesn't stick to all the surface like paper and stuff like that. Okay, so let's start with the crocodile. Okay, let's start with the crocodile. You need 3 balls of clay, one the size of a 50-cent coin and another 2 the size of 10-cent coins. You start by pressing the top of the first ball, the big ball, with your thumb and slowly pulling one end to make a narrow tail. Now to the other end, while you're still forming on the sides, you're also shifting the clay on the top half. So don't worry too much, just keep adjusting as you go and slowly you'll get it to be a little bit longer and a little bit wider. So if you realize now it's looking just a little bit square, so I'm going to use my thumb and press it down a little bit. See, I'm adjusting it slowly. And I want the center to be a little bit fatter than the tail, also because you know the crocodile, after it's eaten, it's got a meal, so it's got a big tummy. So I keep pressing and I keep adjusting. Okay, now I'm quite satisfied. I'm going to go move on to the head. I'm taking that first 10-cent ball and I've squished it up so that I've got something that looks a little bit long and pointy, and that's going to be my crocodile's head. So I'm just adjusting to see how much I want to overlap. I'm using a plastic knife. I'm cutting down the middle. I'm opening that slit and connecting the 2 pieces of plasticine together. So I'm using my thumb and my fingers to just drag the plasticine. So I'm just trying to merge the plasticine together. And again, I'm pinching it so that I can get a narrow neck. And I'm doing this blending all around, both the sides as well as the top and the bottom. So I'm concerned about connecting it properly, so I'm just adjusting and I'm feeling whether it's strong enough. Now I'm molding the body a little bit more and getting the thickness and the width that I want. Okay, once I kind of got that shape figured out, I'm pinching and pulling the top of the head so that it becomes a bit rounded. Okay, and again, I'm smoothing it out with my finger. So I'm trying to make the body more rounded instead of flat. So I'm just pinching a little bit of the clay from the sides and I'm smoothing it with my fingers. So I'm doing that slightly towards the tail as well. So now I'm just using the back of my fingernail just to drag it a little bit and smoothen out any of the rugged surfaces. Don't worry, you can keep adjusting as you go. Okay, now I think I'm quite satisfied with that one. I'm going to put it aside. I'm taking the small 10-cent ball of clay and I'm just rolling it to make one straight length. So I'm moving my hand and I'm using all 4 or all 3 fingers and I'm moving my hand up and down so that I have an even thickness. Now folding it over, right in the middle, I cut it into 2. Right, so I'm just adjusting the shape a little bit. Now, what do you think those are for? Haha, that's for the leg. So I'm putting it right down the middle and again I'm going to squish the straight piece of plasticine into the body piece so that it can stick together. And then I'm just going to adjust the second one further up and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just using my finger, I'm just pressing the plasticine into itself. Okay, it's okay if it becomes a little bit flat as long as it doesn't change the shape too much, the legs at the end too much, you're fine. Okay, so see from the top, you kind of get a feel of the crocodile. Now I'm just using my 2 fingers. one to push like the armpits in, yeah, and the other one to fold the front forward, the pair in the front forward, and the pair towards the tail backwards. And then I'm using my fingers to just pinch along the back, two lengths which make up the spine of the crocodile. You know, when you look at a crocodile from the side, it's got these like ridges. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now across the back and along the tail. And my crocodile is done. So, where do crocodiles live? In the water and on land. So, I found a spot in my house where there is some water sitting on the top of a clay pot, and I decided that's the best shot for my crocodiles. So, the three of them, they are semi submerged and they are swimming. All right, so now let's start with the leatherback sea turtle. The big one, which is a 50-cent coin ball, we start pressing it down in the middle and keep the fingers on the side to guide the shape. Okay, now I'm making it thinner by pinching it, and I'm turning this disc around as I do it. And then now I, I'm pinching two straight lines from one end to the other. So generally the shape looks a little bit like an oval, and I'm using my thumb to reinforce the two lines that I pinched. Okay, so if you look at the leatherback sea turtle, it's got a few of these ridges running from the front to the back, and this really helps it streamline when it's swimming in the ocean. So I'm just adjusting it, and I'm using my finger to make the edges of my shape more even. Okay, I'm flattening the ridges just a little bit so that it kind of looks a bit more natural instead of sharp. Now I'm using the second ball of plasticine, and I'm making a disc again, and I'm evenly pressing it out and turning, pressing and turning, pressing and turning until I get to about the same size as the shell shape earlier. Okay, and then I'm cutting it closer to one side, so it's gonna have one side that is smaller than the other, and you'll understand this in a bit. And then the second time I cut it right down the middle, this is even parts, so it's the same size on the left and the right. So each of these is going to be a flipper for our leatherback sea turtle. So basically I'm just pinching it and I'm softening up all the angles so it looks more like a flipper and less like I cut a circle, right? So as I'm pressing and I'm softening the square, I'm also pulling it out a little bit so it becomes a little bit longer, right? So you can just keep adjusting and you can compare two pieces together to make sure that it's even. Yeah. So I realized that the first one was a little bit longer, so yeah, I just wanted to make sure both of them kind of look balanced. Okay? Right. So now the two longer ones. Yeah, there you go. So you can fold it back a little bit to make it thicker or to just readjust the shape. Remember, it's just plasticine, so you can always redo it if you don't like how it's looking. Okay. Now, these four guys are done. Now we need to attach it to the body. So flip the body over, attach the flippers. I've started with the bottom one first, and again, I'm just rubbing the plasticine into each other. Just use your finger, make sure that you're sturdy. And so what I've done is I've put my hands on the table so that I have something to push against. Yeah, so you just want to look that it kind of looks balanced from the bottom. And see, I've squashed the shell a little bit, so it's okay. We're going to adjust that now. Okay, so now I'm just adjusting everything so that it kind of looks like, my turtle swimming. I'm forming it and I'm just smoothing it out because I think my fingernails kind of got stuck in a bit of the clay. So yeah, I'm just using my thumb to just smoothen out the surface, pressing things down a little bit, adjusting. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. So with the small piece, what you're going to do is you're going to make the head. So I've rolled it out to be a little bit longer, and then now I'm just going to press the end so that it becomes a bit stumpy and round. Okay, once I kind of like that, I'm just going to stick it to the bottom of the body again. And same thing, I basically press it in and I'm just using my thumb to merge the plasticine together. It makes a pretty good, you know, sticking tool. So yeah, there you go. My turtle is done. And he has friends. Ta-da! Okay, so I took my leatherback sea turtles outside and I couldn't really find any sand in my house, so I put it down on the manhole cover which has pebble wash, and I think it kind of looks very natural. And the final reptile we'll be making is the snake. Okay, for this one, you need three pieces of plasticine balls. You need two 20-cent size and one 10-cent size. So starting with the first one, I'm just softening it up because my yellow plasticine seems to be very stiff. So I'm just massaging it a little bit and I just want it to be a bit softer so that when I roll it, it will roll out really smooth and nice. So see now I'm making a ball again. So now I'm quite satisfied with that one. Okay, so I'm going to roll it out. I'm using all my four fingers and a little bit of my palm so that my pressure is equal throughout the plasticine. And why I do this is so that I don't get bumps and lumps in between. And when I want to make it longer, I usually pull and roll. And now I'm using my fingers because I want to have less pressure. I want to go a bit slower. Okay, and I'm just evening out wherever that there are little bumps in my snake body. But you know what's the secret? If there is a lump in the middle of your snake body, you could always just say your snake just ate. Because usually a snake will have food in its belly and it will make a little bit of a fat tummy. Okay, so now towards the end, I'm just rolling it a little bit more and pulling it a bit further. I'm using one finger so that it becomes really thin. And I'm really careful about not having the plasticine split apart. Now for the head, I'm pressing the head down a little bit and I'm making a neck. So I'm making that part just a little bit thinner and I'm pushing a little bit of the plasticine forward so it looks a bit more like a head in the front. Okay, so I have my head and I have the tail on the other side. Okay, so for this snake, I'm going to make a bit of a zigzag. Yeah. So sometimes snakes, when they are kind of moving slowly, yeah, they have a bit of a nice little coily situation. Okay, so this snake is done. So I'm gonna rest him there for a bit. Now I'm taking the smaller piece, the 10-cent ball size. I'm rolling that out. Again, I'm using all my four fingers so that I'm putting equal pressure. I am rolling back and forth. Basically, you roll as long as you want for to get the right thickness or the right length that you're trying to get. Yeah. Yeah. So for this guy, I'm gonna try something different. And as soon as you see me do his tail, I think you're gonna guess what I'm doing. Can you guess what I'm doing? I'm making a circular coil. Do you know what snake likes to hang out in this position? With his head held up? Yeah, I'm making a cobra. So you know, a cobra has a nice hood. So yes, That's what that is. I've pinched it out a little bit, so I've flattened the head, and look at that, that's my cobra. So he's ready, he's waiting. He's waiting for his food to come by, huh? And the last form of snake that we're gonna make today is gonna be a snake that, if you can imagine a snake swimming, so it's gliding in the water, or maybe stretching out in the sun. Yeah. So again, I'm rolling, I'm using all my four fingers. I'm trying to keep the thickness even throughout my snake. And I just need it to be a bit thinner on the back. Sometimes I use less fingers because I want to put less pressure on it. So you have to adjust how you are making your snake based on what is comfortable to you. So don't worry if it becomes thick on one side and thin on the other side. You can always crumple it up and start again. So yeah, this particular guy, I'm thinking he's gonna have a really soft, wavy shape. Yeah, he's gliding and he's moving. So again, the head, I'm just pinching it so that it becomes a bit thicker on the head and has a bit of a neck. All right, so we're done. To the garden and find a possible habitat for them. Have a look at this. This is in my pot where I have some water plants and I thought it would look amazing for the snakes to hang out in. What do you have at home? Where do you think your snakes are going to hide out? So I hope you enjoyed making the 3 different reptiles with me today. Try making different types of reptiles and share your creations with us on this page or tag us at RIMBA the card game on Instagram. I'll see you next week for our fish origami session. Be sure to prepare used paper or magazines where I will show you how to make your own origami paper and a few different types of fish. See you then. Bye bye.